Alrighty, so we're live, Mr. Mohammad Baydoun. I really want to thank you for taking your time today. We really appreciate it. We value your time greatly. You mentioned it's very hot in Dubai today, or how's the weather looking?
No, it's today it's a bit hot. It's not too hot, but I think the summer officially started here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's about 6 a.m. here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we got about a half a foot of snow yesterday. So
Oh, okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
pretty cold. Yeah. Cool. To everyone that's listening, a little bit of background on Mohammad Baydoun. He is the Senior Vice President of Development at Damac Properties. They uh, develop billions of dollars in properties in the Dubai markets. They're a very prestigious developer, do great, excellent developments. Dr. Baydoun is responsible for managing and working jointly with a team of urban planners, urban designers, financial analysts, architects, and engineers. Has his extensive background combined with experience allows him to participate in different structuring of complex development projects throughout the Dubai markets and manage collaboration with consultants of diverse disciplines to execute business plans. So I believe you've received a couple of awards as well. You were a lecturer at the American University of Beirut. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I was actually. Yeah, I was a lecturer there. I stopped back in 2016 when I came to Dubai.
And how did you like lecturing there?
It was a cool experience actually. I started lecturing back in my early 30s. So the age difference between me and the student wasn't much. And at that point in time, I have accumulated around 10 years of professional experience and development. So when I started teaching back in 2013, I had a kind of differentiated background because of my professional experience. And at the same time, I had two masters, a PhD, and 18 publications under my belt. So I was able to help the students in bridging in between theory and practice. And because particularly that all of my publications were focused on documenting and revealing lessons learned from my 10 years of experience at that point in time, connecting these pieces together and feeding back into the theories of development management. And something that I'm pretty proud of actually, because many of my publications has been used as teaching material in world-class universities, including Oxford. So the type of experience that I brought to the students was differentiated. And through my professional practice, I was able to bring to them real life experiences that would illustrate how the theories being taught at the universities are being applied in real life. What are the lessons learned from those applications?
Yeah, that's a great accomplishment. So you mentioned you have 18 publications. Do you mind touching
Yes.
a little bit more on that and maybe what the experience was like, putting these books together and processing them and the sales of the books?
Okay. The whole story started when I was doing my PhD. I started in 2009. A PhD to be completed needs a minimum of 4 to 5 years. By the end of the first years, I was very advanced in my dissertation. So the university told me at that point in time, you need to slow down. You cannot allow you to graduate before a minimum of 4 years. So then I had a plan. My plan was to publish in peer-reviewed journals. I'm not sure you're familiar with the peer-reviewed journals. It's actually
Sure.
journals that would send your content to experts in the domain. They would send their feedback. If two your reviewers would say okay, they will proceed with the publication. If one says yes, they go for a third. And if the both they say no, they just reject it. It's a very complex process. And there is a list of journals called ABS list of journals. That's actually the most world renowned list of academic journals in the world. So I picked up the journals from that list. I published 3 articles actually by the end of my second year in the PhD. So no one at that
Oh,
point in time could question the quality of my research, and they had to allow me to defend my dissertation. And I got my PhD in. But after that, still, I liked the idea of publishing. few years after few weeks actually after my graduation, a German publisher contacted me, and I published my full dissertation in a book that's currently selling extremely well actually on Amazon up till today, although I published it 10 years ago.
I'm sorry, what was
Then
that
the ball
book
got
called?
a risk management of large scale development projects in developing countries.
Okay, sure.
So, and after that, I continued in the publication run up to 2016 till I came in Dubai, and I accumulated 18 publications, and I participated in international conferences, including the cityscape of Riyadh, where I used to be hosted to talk about risk management of development projects because I'm the only expert on the only PhD in risk management of development projects in all of the MENA region.
Oh wow. Yeah, so uh, very great skill that you have under your arsenal there. So as far as your education and what you mentioned, so you have a bachelor's in architecture, a master's in urban design, and a master's in business administration, and then as well a doctorate in business and administration. Is that correct?
True, correct.
And what really got you interested into this variety of different education, and what pushed you through to receive these degrees?
After I finished my Bachelor of Architecture, which was my passion since I was 8 years old, I had a number one ranking on my university. So I was offered at the American University of Beirut a scholarship to do the Master's in Urban Design. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. I will do it. In the process, I was headhunted by a company called Millennium Development, which was at that point in time the only development management company in all of the Middle East region. Developers at that point in time didn't have their own development teams. So we used to provide development management service for all the big players in the region. And it was owned by the Prime Minister of Lebanon at that point in time, Saad al-Hariri. So after a few years, I developed myself and approved myself, and I became an assistant manager at the age of 24. I was the youngest assistant manager. Then I wanted to move to the managerial level, and they told me, you are too young, you are very technically sound, and it's time for you to prove yourself in the financial and managerial side. So this is when I decided to take the MBA. And in the process, I worked on multiple large-scale projects in the region from a financial perspective. The most famous of those are Jabal Omar project in Mecca. It's the first project to be listed in the Saudi Stock Exchange at that point in time, and I had a major role in structuring the financial model and the corporate structure of the company, and preparing all the necessary documents for fundraising and to list the project on the Saudi Stock Exchange. So that's one of my biggest financial achievements at that point in time. So I achieved my dream, and before the age of 30, I became a manager. Then my manager at that point in time, he advised me to get a PhD degree. And that's a funny story, actually. I look actually some kind of younger than my actual age. It's cool now because I'm almost 45, but it wasn't cool when I was in my 20s.
Yeah,
So so I needed so the doctor title was like something that would have helped me a lot in getting the credibility. And I pursued that dream and I got it. And actually it was a very good advice because the doctor title, particularly in the Middle East region, helps a lot. It buys you the first 4 to 5 minutes in any meeting. Obviously, if no content, then that title will not do you any good, but it's a door opener, definitely.
definitely. And yeah, your education experience is very accredited. It's very respectful. So just curious, how long have you been in Dubai?
Since 2016, April 2016. So this year I'll be completing my 7th year.
Sure. And then how long have you been working for Damac?
Five,
5 years.
5 years.
Okay. So where did you come from before Dubai, and what led you to that market?
Well, I told you I started my career at Millennium Development that was owned by the Prime Minister of Lebanon.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed with them for 14 years before
Oh,
coming to Dubai.
right, right.
So I didn't change my job during that whole period. I came to Dubai. I was headhunted by Majid Al Futain
Oh.
for a senior managerial position, and then I was headhunted by Damac, and here I am.
And so, how did you like working in developing properties for the Prime Minister of Lebanon?
It was a very cool experience because I was mostly focused on the Saudi portfolio. So I was lucky because I was exposed to dealing with the top end VIPs in Saudi, including the King Abdullah. At that point in time, I presented to him twice, which was a very unique experience. And I was working on, in addition to Jabal Omar, on the Haram Plaza expansion. Actually, I was part of the royal committee that worked on the development strategy of the Haram Plaza expansion, which is the most sacred project for the Muslims in the world. Also, I worked on the development of Ashamia project, Jabal Khandama, the current King Abdul Aziz Road linking in between Jeddah and Mecca. That's also one of my early projects that I worked on in my career. In addition to King Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy in Riyadh, in addition to the financial district in Johor in Malaysia, in addition to a city that didn't materialize, the new Aktau city in Kazakhstan, so on and so forth. So the experience was amazing. I was very fortunate at a young age to be exposed to all of those unique and large scale projects.
Yeah, no kidding. It's definitely a good way to build up your track record on a pretty quick time frame.
Yeah, I think I was fortunate in getting that exposure, but obviously also I grabbed the opportunity.
So, your main kind of development experience, and kind of your niche, what do you typically focus on? Are you typically doing residential multifamily developments? I kind of I've looked into Damac's website and I noticed you guys are do mostly multifamily. Is that correct?
No, actually, we do all the residential products from villas, townhouses, towers, short towers, high towers. And also we have hotels, by the way. We have Damac Towers by Paramount. We have Paramount Midtown. We have Radisson here in Damac Hills, where I live actually. I'm now in Damac Hills. My villa is in Damac Hills
Oh,
community. And we have also a Rotana hotel that's in the process of being opened in Akoya. We have also malls. We have Ventura Mall here in Damac Hills that will be open next month, in addition to multiple street retail developments spread all along Dubai. So we
oh,
handle all the asset classes, but
mm,
obviously our biggest focus is on residential sector.
sure. How as a company have you seen the hotel market change in Dubai as COVID hits and really the traveling kind of slowed down a little bit? How has this kind of affected your company?
Well, like any company, development company in Dubai, our numbers were hit during COVID. But I think we did a great job during that period because we were focused on the online sales at that point in time, as we were newly established the online sales, and it was performing very well. So we kept the business flowing even during COVID, and after COVID, then things started picking up. I think Dubai surprised the world after COVID, how quickly it recovered. Real estate prices here are going in one direction, and it's up
Right.
every year. People say, maybe things gonna slow down next year, and it's not slowing down. Everyone said 2023 because the international financial crisis, Dubai will slow down. It didn't slow down by any means. I can guarantee
Yeah.
you 2023 will be the record of 2022, and I can sign off on this. And you will see if we have a discussion by the end of 2023, you will see that my expectation is in this place.
Yeah, I believe it. Dubai is a beautiful city, and I think the developments taking place in that area is absolutely wonderful. So, Mohammed, are you able to touch base on Damac's company structure, maybe some of the ownership structure and the services your company provides?
Damac is predominantly owned by our chairman, Hussein Sajwani. He's not the short shareholder, but let's say he owns the biggest, but he predominantly most of the shares of the company. The way it's structured under the chairman, you have two managing directors who are Ali Sajwani and Amira Sajwani. Ali is responsible for the operational side, like the IT, the CRM aspect, all the metaverse initiatives are being led by him. Amira is leading all the sales and development aspects, and I report directly to her. And we have also a GM for projects that handles the execution side of the business. That's the high level structuring of Damac, how it works. And Damac is not a service provider. We sell products which are residential products predominantly, in addition to the hotels and the malls that I mentioned earlier.
Sure, sure. Are you able to touch a little bit on the Dubai market? I know you mentioned earlier you believe Dubai will have you have huge expectations for 2023 Dubai. Are you able to touch maybe on some of the areas you're targeting, what you think uh, is best to come for 2023?
Sure. Look, people has been over the last year and so has been confusing between two things. Between the cycle of the real estate market, because everyone said the market went down 28 and went up 2014-15, things started to slow down, now it went up, then it will go down again very shortly. And then people has been saying this for the last couple of years. Things are not going to go down shortly. I'm going to tell you why. Dubai is a very cheap city from a real estate perspective compared to the international cities in the world. Think of cities like Singapore, London, Paris, all of those big cities in the world, New York. The real estate prices there are way, way more expensive than Dubai. Although Dubai is among the safest cities in the world, it provides a lifestyle that's second to none, one of the best entertainment centers in the world. What it provides in terms of quality of lifestyle is insane. Plus, Dubai proved its resilience against crisis, particularly after COVID, and now it's proving its resilience during the financial crisis and during. And although there is a lot of turbulence or let's say instability on the level of the world in multiple areas, particularly in Europe, Dubai proved its resilience in that respect. So what we're seeing today is actually a rectification in the prices of real estate in Dubai. Dubai now is moving from one tier to another. It's not going through the normal cycle. So that's why I don't see any way backwards from here onwards. The cycle will be there, but now the cycle will be operating at a higher level. Dubai is entering the big boys league from a real estate perspective. And from my view, 2023 and potentially 24 will be the years of rectification of prices. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of 2023, prices will increase somewhere between 20 to 30% on average in the real estate market of Dubai.
So, what cap rates do you guys typically look to build to? What are you guys' hold periods typically? Are you guys holding this building for forever, or do you guys plan on an exit strategy?
No, our model is way simpler than all of that. What we do, we put the development strategy for a project, we put the brief, we design it, we sell off plan. So basically, the whole and over the last couple of years, we are selling the rate of sell out that we're doing is really insane. Like, can we launch Canal Heights, Damac Bay, all of those projects that we launched recently, all the phases of Lagoon, they are selling out not in days, in hours. So nothing is left. All what we need to do from then onwards is to proceed with the construction, deliver the building, keep collecting as per the payment plan, and that's it. So our business model is way simpler than that. And thank God our success is making rhythm and the frequency of projects launches, I think it's the highest currently in Dubai. Not I think, I know actually, because on average we are launching a new project every 10 days.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you typically sell these properties as turnkey investments to buyers?
yeah, 100%.
Sure, sure. Have you ever been interested in yourself as buying and holding real estate or developing this real estate and holding it yourself?
I do have my real estate portfolio, and just for the reference, all of my properties are developed by Damac, and including the villa in which I am right now.
Would you like to touch a little bit on your real estate portfolio and what led you to amass this?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. Uh, First of all, the home in which I'm right now, it's a villa in Damac Hills. Damac Hills to me is the number one community in all of Dubai. It's a golf course community. It has one of the largest park in all of Dubai that at around 1.2 million square feet, loaded with activities, including on the artificial beach, calisthenics stations, kids play areas, greenery, landscape, all the sports course that you could think of, virtual reality center, entertainment center, running tracks, you name it. Everything that you could think of, you will find it. And I'm a sportsman. I like activities, particularly outdoor activities. So to me, this is haven. So I'm enjoying my time a lot here, and that's why I decided to buy a villa in this community. Also, I bought a couple of units in Business Bay. Both of them are with Damac. One of them is in Pre-Bay. It's one of the best performing buildings in all of Business Bay, overlooking the water directly. Very largely sized units, view astonishing, super highly in demand. And I think I made a good move by buying a unit there. And also last year we handed over one of our building in Business Bay called Reva, a very efficient layouts for one bedrooms. I bought one of those, and it's performing very well. Like the performance of the unit, I think among the best, is reaching around 10%. And we all know 10% in the real estate market is super, super high.
Right. That's awesome. What was the construction budget for Damac Hills? You mentioned a lot of amenities and artificial beaches and a lot of sports entertainment venues. Seems like a very expensive project.
Well, they exceeded $3 billion.
Wow. So how do you guys finance these projects?
Look, first of all, we sell off plan. Second, all the large scale development projects or other large scale development companies in the world, not just in Dubai, they follow a completely different model for financing. We don't work on financing on project by project basis. All the big developers, they issue bonds to finance all the requirements of financing across the different disciplines, different departments in the company. Uh, for a very simple logic, let's say you have a certain amount of money and I want to borrow an amount of money. If you go to the bank and you put your money, they give you, let's say, 4%. If I go and borrow it, I'll take 6%. Now, I could issue a bond by which I would give you 5% on your money. So you will be gaining 1 extra percent more. And I'll be saving one more percent. And that's a win-win situation for you and me. Now you will tell me why not everyone's doing that. It's because the issuing cost of the bonds is high, and it's only justifiable when you're raising large amount of money in billions. And that's why that model is very logical and very financially viable for large development projects, for large development companies, and it's also very profitable for people that would buy those bonds because they're going to make more money as opposed to putting their money in the bank.
Sure. Are any of your development projects set up as a syndication with limited partners and general partners?
No,
You
all
all,
the projects are fully owned by Damac.
sure, sure. And you sell off plan. So is this typically to private buyers public buyers, any family offices, or you just advertise this publicly?
No, we advertise it publicly and either through Damac or through our agents. And we receive multiple types of buyers. So we have the families, we have the bulk buyers, we have the individual buyers. That we have all the spectrum of buyers that you could think of, different nationalities, living in Dubai, international, the whole 9 yards.
Sure, sure. So I'm gonna share my screen quickly. So you're pretty familiar with the Canal Heights project,
Of course.
and what was your role with this project, and what is the status of the project currently, and is there any challenges you guys are facing as a company?
No, actually, there are no challenges at all. That project, we launched it. I've done personally the briefing for it around 10 days ago. A couple of days ago, we opened it for sales. It sold out in a few hours, the whole building. And next week on the
Right.
16th, I'm going to be opening the second tower of the Twins. And I'm telling you from now, it's going to sell out in a few hours also.
So are you able
Project
to
has
see
been
my
very.
screen?
Hmm?
Sorry, are you able to see my screen here, the Canal Heights?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course, of
Okay,
course.
great.
I know the project by heart.
So you said one of these towers is constructed and you're still working on constructing the other tower, or I'm sorry, what was the
No, no,
progress
no.
of this development?
We said we launched the project 2 days ago and it sold out
Oh, wow.
of plan. Yeah, completely. The second one will be open on March 16, and I'm telling you from now, it's gonna sell out in a few hours. That's how successful that project was and
In a
is.
few hours.
Few hours. That's it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful development. Beautiful building. I think that's a great location as well. How many units is in this development?
300 plus.
300 plus. What was the construction budget for this project exactly?
Confidential, I cannot tell you.
Sure, yeah. I respect that definitely. Man, it's an awesome project, who is the general contractor you guys are using for this?
Contractor not appointed yet. We are in the process of appointment.
Is there a general contractor that does great work for you in the Dubai area, or is a contractor you can rely on heavily, or?
No, actually, we go for the normal bidding process. We give equal opportunity for all the contractors. And whoever submits the proposal with the best quality and the best price, we proceed with them.
Sure. So you'll send out the project to bid per plan and specifications, um, and then choose the lowest bidder, therefore.
Yeah, as long as the quality is in line with our expectations. For us, quality comes before the price.
Makes sense. So I'm looking at the Safa 2 developments here. Are you
Yep.
familiar in working on this development as well?
Of course, I'm the head of development of the company. All of those are my projects.
Beautiful.
Safa 2, yeah,
Beautiful building.
yes, it is actually. And the location is stunning. Another project that sold out, but this one sold out in a few days actually, last year.
I can imagine. Wow, that rendering is beautiful. I'd like to see more renderings, but um, not sure where to access those.
As everything is available on our website. You can even download the brochure. Safa 2 is the second project in the sequel of Di Grigigono. Canal Heights also is part of the Di Grigigono collection, which is one of the best jewelry brands in the world. And we have launched Safa 1, which was the first real estate project under this brand. I know it was inspired by the DNA of the brand, namely gold, diamond, and emerald. And that's why the emerald, the luxury green of the emerald, has been celebrated in the design of Safa 1 across its exterior and interior. And it was married by the green of nature in the Safa Park. And Safa 2 is sitting across the road from Safa 1. And it relied on the second gem in the collection of Di Grigigono, which is the ruby, Why we picked out the ruby versus the emerald? It's because on the color wheel, the green and the red are two complementary colors. So it was the perfect match across the street of Sheikh Zayed, the most important and the most dominant road in all of the Emirates, being gated and framed by Safa 1 that celebrates the emerald and Safa 2 that celebrates the ruby on the same line.
Wow, very interesting. Very interesting. So this this kind of opening in the middle of the building on Safa 2, what exactly is that? Is that a porch located in there? I see there's maybe some trees, some green infrastructure in there. What was the design
That
behind that?
that's what we call the ruby heart, which is an opening inside of the building that includes a deck with a infinity pool with a transparent bottom overlooking Sheikh Zayed Road, backed by F&B offering to give our residents an experience that's exclusive and that's not available anywhere else in Dubai.
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely exclusive. Wow. So how did you come up with this design? Did your architect firm lead you towards this? Was this your uh, baby? Who kind of came up with this Ruby Heart design muse?
That's something I come up with my team. The whole development idea, the whole development strategy of every single project, we sit together and we brainstorm of how to come up with a pitch that's unique. Who are the customers that we are targeting? What are their needs? And what's the most creative way by which we would satisfy those needs and make those projects super unique through its lifestyle, through its amenities, and through its pitch and through its brand. We put all of those together in one document, and then we either design it internally because the concept team also reports to me in Damac, or I bring a consultant to design it for me. And under our management, we make sure that the vision that we came up for the project is properly implemented in the design.
Okay, yeah, definitely unique design, and I'd love to see that in person someday. Uh, Beautiful, beautiful design. So, Mohammed, are you able to touch a little bit on any acquisition strategies you have as a company to secure land in Dubai or different acquisitions you're targeting?
I cannot talk about the specific acquisitions that we are currently working on due to confidentiality, of course. But I would tell you, we are always focused on identifying and acquiring the best locations in all of Dubai. We are focused on diversified offer. We make sure that we have best locations for our towers and for our communities because we believe in providing a quality lifestyle that's second to none. We believe what we offer is always above the market offering, and to achieve this, you need the multiple success elements of development, starting from the unique location, two, unique vision and development strategy, three, unique design, four, competitive commercial terms, five, proper marketing strategy that makes sure that the product is pushed to the right customer.
Yeah, those are wonderful metrics to follow. I think that's maybe what makes you guys such a strong development company. Are you able to touch on some of the feasibility studies you guys go into in order to push these developments through?
Financial feasibilities are obviously confidential numbers, but we follow the normal feasibility process that any company in the world would follow. We calculate our margins, we calculate our IRRs, we have our own internal targets, and we make sure those are being hit. What I could tell you is that for us, achieving quality and delivering quality comes ahead of the financial performance of the project because Damac is in a very strong financial position now, and our focus is on creating legacy and making sure that our exposure and of portfolio and the spread of our brand equity is moving to the international level, and to us that comes before the financial performance of the project.
So you mentioned your brand equity moving to the international level. What markets have you guys contemplated moving into? Have you looked into any markets in America?
Yeah, we acquired a very nice land in Miami, actually.
Oh, beautiful area.
Uh, yeah, last year. It was actually a bid, and we got it. And the project now is in the design process. Last year, we delivered a project in London, Nine Elms. It's a beautiful project, the only Versace tower in all of Europe. Currently, also, we are working on the first Mandarin Oriental resort in Maldives. We have projects already handed over in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and we have also a master plan in Iraq that's in the process. So our international portfolio is pretty much diversified, and obviously we are looking into other opportunities to be added to our portfolio of development in the future.
So as far as determining your construction budget for these projects, making sure you hit your returns as a company, how do you determine or what is the process of determining the construction budget? Are you typically just underwriting backwards to determine if we hit this IRR, we can only spend this amount on the construction budget? Or how do you, as a company, typically determine what you can spend on constructing a building?
Look, by now we have more than 100 towers that we developed in Dubai. We delivered more than 30,000 villas. So the experience is there. So whenever I want to design a villa or a tower, depending on the positioning of that tower, I have all the benchmarks that I need to know what will be my construction cost for this project. And accordingly, I calculate my IRR. Reverse calculating the construction cost, I don't believe it's a smart idea in the development world for a very simple reason. You could assume or reverse calculate whatever you want and you tell, well, that's what I want to spend. But eventually, there are a minimum that you need to achieve for your brand equity, and the contractor prices are driven by the market prices of the material, are not driven by the developer's calculation. So we use our own benchmarks. Thank God we have an amazing database. Our budget team is very strong, and our estimation for construction costs are accurate to a high extent, and we run our feasibilities accordingly.
So, as a company, you guys typically target luxury developments. Have you looked into any affordable housing developments, or do you guys typically stick to the more expensive construction budget, the luxury developments, the high end, luxurious, fancy developments?
We focus on quality development. We focus on luxury living, but also we have offerings that I consider to be affordable luxury. We have villas starting from 1 million dirham, 1.2 million dirham actually now is the cheapest, and going up to 30, 40 million dirhams. So we have the whole spectrum. It depends on what the customer wants. But what's for sure, whether you buy the 1.2 million or the 30 million, that luxury lifestyle is provided.
Definitely. As a company, you're building these buildings, turning them around, selling them to investors or buyers immediately as a newly turnkey property. What return metrics are you looking to hit on the entire development as a company? Are you looking to see, 10% returns on your investment? I know you mentioned that earlier. Um, what returns are you guys really targeting for?
That's also another confidential. The 10% is just for my personal portfolio that I am
Sure.
achieving, but that's a different story. The development, because I bought a unit, I'm renting it. It's as simple as that. Whereas when we develop our own properties, it's a different ball game together, and our numbers are not bad.
Business is good.
Thank God.
Thank God, right? So as far as negotiations with your general contractor and architect setting up the contracts, do you have any strategies or techniques when you go into these negotiations?
Of course, I do. But I'm not gonna tell them my secrets online, otherwise they're gonna know my tactics.
Sure, sure. So you're an architect yourself,
Yep,
right?
I am.
Do you don't spend much time putting together plans, but since you have this deep insight to plans, do you ever find yourself correcting the architects on any mistakes they made, or since you have this deep insight, it's a lot easier to negotiate with them since you know exactly what you want.
I do this on daily basis. I never rely on an architectural designer as I review and scrutinize every single plan of every single unit, me along my team, because they've always designers and architects, they look at things from a pure design perspective. And there is a general um, challenge when dealing with the architects, and actually King Charles said it at some point in time. The problem of architects is that they design for their fellow architects. They confuse between the needs and the preference of the end user and between their own personal preferences. And the issue with architects in general, they have a big ego and they try to impose their own vision. As far as I'm concerned, no ego is involved. My aim is one thing and one thing only: identify the best product that suits the needs and aspirations of my customer. And I make sure that's being emphasized in every project and every layout of every single unit. And this is where I use my technical expertise in making sure that the plans are so and are sound, my commercial knowledge to make sure that it's financially viable, and through my understanding of the market to make sure that the product is in line with what my customers want to see.
Sure, sure. So let's see. So as far as project closeouts and asset management, you guys aren't doing too much of that as a company due to the turnkey process. Within your individual portfolio, um, what are some challenges that you have faced managing your assets and um, managing these properties yourself?
Honestly, I didn't face any challenges at this thank God so far because I know the business inside out. I know who are the right partners. I've put the units in holiday homes. I know which is the right company to do it. And I know how the contract should be structured, how who should handle what. So from day one, I took all the contingencies needed, and passive income is sailing smoothly.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's the best thing, passive income. It's,
I'm a strong believer in real estate. There are multiple. I believe in diversification of investments, but given my experience, my humble experience over the last 20 years in multiple investment channels, whether that's stocks, crypto, real estate, you name it, real estate is the safest bet. And if you pick up the right location, if you know the business well, if you have the right expert with you on board to pick up the right product for you, there is no way that for you not to make money. And even if things are force majeure that would happen, in real estate, it's virtually impossible to lose all of your money. Like they're impossible. Whereas in stocks or in crypto, that's definitely something that's likely.
definitely with crypto, as over the past couple of months, Bitcoin and a lot of those coins have been kind of taking a crap. Did you personally invest in any cryptocurrencies or such as
I
Bitcoin? Or,
did actually. I did actually for the last few months, but I stopped over 3 months ago, actually more 6 months ago, because it requires a lot of time. For me to invest, because I have a PhD in risk management, I'm very well knowledgeable and reading the candle charts and identifying trends and making models for future projections. And I did well for quite some time, but the problem is it's time demanding, and I prefer to focus more on my development business. And then I moved my investments into real estate solely.
yeah, I agree with you. I think real estate is one of the most powerful investments, buying real tangible assets coupled with the appreciation of the land value and property value, and being able to depreciate a lot of your taxable income is something that is extremely powerful as far as an asset class.
Correct.
Does Damac ever partner with any other developers? Are you able to touch on how you feel about partnerships within real estate development or acquisitions?
Look, it's something that can happen, can work. Other developers did it. But I think given the fact that Damac is in a strong financial position, second, it has a very, very unique operational model. The speed at which we operate, I didn't see any other developer in the world that operate at that same level of frequency. Decision making is so quick. I believe having a partnership with someone else will slow us down. And honestly, we don't need the partnership. So we are sailing smoothly. We are able to develop, launch, achieve success. For you to have a partner, he needs to add value on the board. He needs to help you to enhance your business, and he needs to be able to keep up with you. I think it's going to be very hard to find such a partner, and honestly, we don't need it.
Mac being a very experienced development firm, partners aren't very necessary for them. Would you recommend partners to smaller firms, individuals developing buildings that maybe lack some of the experience that Damac clearly has?
Yeah, definitely. If let's say people that are new to the business, they want to enter the development, I highly recommend it to them. So let's say if they have the money, they want to invest, they don't have the experience, they can partner with someone, and then that person will bring something on the table that they don't have, and the partnership would be pretty successful for both, at least in the early projects. So yeah, under those conditions, definitely I will highly recommend the partnership.
Sure. So as far as navigating approvals, government approvals, architectural, engineering approvals within your building designs, how do you navigate these approvals, and how do you make sure the project hits deadlines and still receive
That's
approvals that you need?
one of the most beautiful things in Dubai. That's one of the things that I love about Dubai because I worked internationally in multiple locations. In Dubai, everything is crystal clear. The process, which authority you start with the planning authority, how you approach different authorities from DEWA to RTA. The process is crystal clear. And when you put your time plan for the process and when you're going to get all the approvals at which point in time, usually you don't miss it because there are no surprises. Everything is clear. And the authorities have one aim and one aim only here is to make sure that all the developers and all the businesses are moving forward to achieve commercial success and to help in boosting the economy of the country. So that's something that I highly respect and appreciate in Dubai. We are really blessed to have that here.
You don't see many delays due to city pushback or approval delays in Dubai?
I, I know what you're referring to, given your experience in the US. I can guarantee you we don't have this at all in Dubai.
Oh yeah, that's a great advantage to the Dubai market. I'm out here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Madison, Wisconsin, and just local developments. Received so much pushback from the city councils, city aldermen. So that's definitely a great advantage to the Dubai market and something to be utilized for future
Agreed.
developers. Mohammed, do you have any advice for beginner developers in the multifamily
Yes.
residential realm?
Don't start if you don't have the right experience on board. Many people they fall into the trap where you say, well, you know what? It's very easy. All what you need to do, I'd bring a consultant. He will help you in designing. You launch, you sell. Life is simple. That's the classic mistake by which people will lose their money, particularly people that are still new in the real estate business. Even if you need to sacrifice part of your profit in the early projects, bring the right people on board, bring the right experts in development, try to do joint venture with other experts or developers that have done this before to identify the proper mix, the proper development strategy, the proper location. Real estate is all about location, location, location. Development business is not that simple. You need to understand the technical complexity of the project. Can you consume the GFA that you're building or not? How many prime units you have as opposed to units that will not capture the view? And what's going to be the efficiency? People don't understand that the financial feasibility is not just driven by how much what's your cost versus your revenue. Like a normal business, there are a lot of technical tricks in the process. How can you maximize the sellable area versus built up area versus GFA? What's the acceptable percentage that you could do given if the building is single loaded or not, given the size of the unit? Only person that's experienced in this area, that's done this multiple times before, will be able to do that. And once you have him on board, definitely you're going to be able to make way more money that you will do on your own, even if he's going to take a portion of or a percentage of the project revenue or profit.
So you highly recommend beginner developers to potentially reach out to partners that have greater experience, leverage this experience, and grow their network. And
Agreed.
sure. Well, that's about all I have for today, Mohammed. I will stop the recording. If you mind staying on just for a few last remarks, that'd be great. I really want to thank
Sure.
you for taking your time today, and we really appreciate it, and we really respect your background and your experience.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks. Here.